Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time that you are watching this video. I am Richard Taylor here with Mr. James Hinnant and Mrs. Tondalayo Clark. We are responding to Mr. Ray's interview. If you've watched any of the 5 interviews, we detailed some of Mr. Ray's behavior towards students, towards staff, and the culmination of the student who was arrested for an incident that stemmed from chewing gum. Now, since then, we've had a whole lot of people who are commenting on the situation, people who have similar experiences.
Right.
So we brought Mr. Hinnant and Mrs. Clark to give some feedback concerning his interview, concerning some other things that have been sent to them, and concerning some other violations that they feel has been made. So I'm going to give them the floor. You guys can start. That's my phone. Go ahead.
We'll start off with the interview you had with Mario Ray. He admitted himself that he was out of control that day. And it comes as no surprise to me. That's his conduct. To be so outraged at a child that's coming to school ready to take her test and blow up like that. There was absolutely no reason for him to falsify official documents saying that he was assaulted by this child. That didn't happen. To go downstairs and coach this child downstairs, leading her to believe that her mother was there when all the time he had called the police for absolutely no reason. There have been numerous responses to this, and children from Norway Middle School, children from Dillard Middle School have all collaborated on the same thing about his misconduct, how he acts, how unprofessional he is. You had young girls commenting on some of the things that he would say to them. What I'm so dismayed about at this point is that the children are speaking out. The adults are remaining silent. I'm really appalled at the fact that during this whole incident with this 6th grader, teachers were standing by and they did not intervene. And that's part of their duties and responsibilities. And that's outlined in the North Carolina General Statute. They violated that. Also, they had no compassion for this child. Mario Ray have created his own private institution, and it's equivalent to a concentration camp. From teachers to students, he wants them to follow his commands, good or bad, and that's what it has come to. I'm really appalled at the fact that the community have not come together yet to support this child. I'm appalled also about some of the people that's running right now for mayor of the city, campaigning. Not one have mentioned what this child has gone through. We don't intend to allow this to be forgotten. We're going to continue to push forward, filing complaints with the Department of Education, Washington, D.C. I just received a consent form with that signed and sent back. Also, the Justice Department, I'm waiting to hear from them. And I want to make sure that these children who witnessed this heinous crime perpetrated by Mario Ray last year, the 6th grader, this child classmates, I don't want them to go back into their school and have to be under his leadership, because it's only going to get worse. Nobody's caring now about the mental state of this child and what she has suffered. Also her mother and her classmates. Nobody's saying anything about this. We can't allow anyone like Mario Ray to come into our community and create this chaos. Treating our children like they're second or third class citizens. It's up to us to make sure that when our children are sent off to school, that they're in a safe and secure environment that's conducive to learning. Right now, it's just the exact opposite. They're going to school in a chaotic situation, inhumane situation. And nobody seemed to care but us. We're going to make sure that this man is charged because he did perpetrate a crime. That's my view. He instituted this, he carried it out, and now we got to make sure that this child is made whole. There's other things that Ms. Clark can elaborate on with what kind of response that we've gotten back from children. And they are sharing their experience with us. Ms. Clark?
Okay. After watching the interview, I received a response directly to me from one of my students, 7th grade students from last year. She states, yeah, but we still have the mildew, leaking roof, the books in the classrooms have not been replaced, updated, the bathrooms are falling apart. But there's still more things going on in the school that no one talks about, especially Mr. Ray and the way he acts toward us female students and the way he looks at us sometimes when he looks at the female student inappropriately, especially if you have more than some others. That's amazing that you and Mr. Hinnant are talking about our school. I hope next year will be different. There's another comment I want to read. This one is from a parent that had a child with autism at Norwayne, when he was principal at Norwayne. But I also want to point out when my former student sent that comment to me, there are comments from former students from Norwayne who had the same and practically similar statements and comments. This comment from a parent: Mr. Ray was principal at Norwayne when my child was there. My son had autism and social anxiety disorder. His psychologist suggested that my son either put his head down for like 2 to 4 minutes and do his breathing to regain composure when he felt as though he was having an issue. Or the school could provide an area where he could go for a few minutes and do breathing exercises. Mr. Ray said that there was nowhere he could go. I asked if someone has diabetes and needs to get a shot of insulin, then would you allow that opportunity? He said yes. I told him this was part of my son's medical team care and it should be looked at the same way. He disagreed and suspended my son 18 times in 1 month for putting his head down.
That's a mean-spirited person. You're going to suspend a child that's sick, knowing that he's going through a crisis, and you're going to suspend that child for 18 months. This tells you just what kind of man this person is. He's very treacherous and vindictive. I said that over and over again. Even when there's someone there to assist him, he wants to be that dominant person. These children should not have to go through this. There was another situation where there was a child student that had his personal telephone number.
Yes, the student came in that morning and said, Ms. Clark, she was experiencing online bullying on Facebook. A student kept making posting and body shaming her. She said, Ms. Clark, can I send the message to Mr. Ray? I said, sure, get the Chromebook. She said, no, I have his phone number. I can text it to him. I said, you have the principal's phone number? She said, yeah. We were returning from the cafeteria or somewhere, and we were in the hall. The principal was walking by. She said, Mr. Ray, did you get my message? And he said, yeah, I got it. And she said, yeah, we got it like that. That's what she said in the classroom. Once he said, yeah, I got it, we went in the classroom, and then she said, yeah. Yeah,
so
I got
he was texting us, well, had the capabilities of texting and receiving a text
Yes.
from a direct student.
Yes, yes.
I'm pretty sure that's not in the rule books.
It's inappropriate.
Yeah.
Not only that he created a divisiveness between the children. And here you got another child, here you have that can text him at any time, telling on other students. He used this child as a stooge. There's no doubt about it. He knew what he was doing when he gave her his personal telephone number. Not only is it inappropriate, we don't know what else he might have had in mind.
Yeah, and just a few comments that I read from the Facebook post and the YouTube post. It says, Mr. Ray has been that way since I was in middle school. I'll never forget when I returned to school from being sick for like 3 days, and he met me at the buses and demanded I go to ISS for something I did to the teacher the day before. And when I tried to explain to him I wasn't even schooled that day, he said, it doesn't matter, y'all are all the same. I didn't know what he meant then, but I realized it over time, and that mess has stuck with me. He has no business being an administrator, but definitely not at a predominantly black school.
Absolutely.
And another student, an ex-student, now she's 29 years old, so I guess he was her principal 17 years or so ago. He said, wow, I should have known y'all were talking about Mr. Ray's mean butt. He was my middle school principal, and I absolutely disliked him. He was targeting other race children that weren't his race. He believed in making an example out of a person for anything. Shaking my head, I just knew he would have retired now. And there are so many more, if you have any.
And then I'd also like to add here where an adult is saying, interesting, another school would see him a good fit for hire in the same position where he was found to leave from allegations. I would question who thought this was a good idea and possibly remove them from their duties. A response. This very question was asked when he was assigned to Dillard, but nobody would answer it.
The thing that their whole strategy was to put him someplace where they felt they could hide him out. Nobody was going to challenge him. Dillard was a good fit for him because what? It's predominantly school, predominantly black community, and they felt that nobody cared about our children. That was the whole purpose of this. When I talked to this interim superintendent and I asked him, I said, well, what led to this 6th grader being arrested? He told me she didn't follow direction. Now, what kind of stupid answer was that? And he said it twice. She didn't follow directions. So there's more to this than what? Well, we will continue to get information coming in, but there's much, much more. It goes higher than Ray, because the thing about it, he couldn't have done all of this unless it was a plan. And we feel that plan came from the superintendent's office all the way down. Every time that a complaint was filed against him, he said, well, the superintendent already know it. He know all about this. So there was cover for him all the time. So we're going to continue to go forward because we do have the information. Right now, we got approximately 400 signatures on the petition. And when we reach the 500 mark, which will be pretty soon, we're going to send it up to the superintendent, the state superintendent, and to the Department of Education in Washington, D.C.
And this is the petition both online and signatures as well.
Yeah, you can, you can just see in a lot of people, once again, are just making the same claims about his bullying of the children.
Right.
One lady said he was the same bully at North Wayne when he was the principal. He was forced to leave there over allegations. I was surprised when he was hired back once again into Wayne County School after his departure for a few years. So many people bring up the fact that he was under investigation when he left North Wayne. So I echo Mr. Hinnant's sentiments of, why would someone as much maligned legally and also allegedly to be placed in, a school system where, children are, more susceptible to being taken advantage of or being bullied or being victims. So
that's right.
It's something that we still are combating for, the upcoming year, and hopefully if he's not removed, at least, you know, this exposure, this spotlight will give him incentive to, you know, change his behavior. But like I said, these things have been going on apparently for about 15 years with him being the principal.
Absolutely.
Did you speak about the child who had autism and he didn't let the child rest his head?
Yeah, she did.
Yes.
Yeah, she
Yes.
elaborated on that.
Okay, so there's just so many things that.
But I want to address every parent that has students going to Dillard Middle School. And I'm challenging you to take care of your child, your children. Make sure that you protect them. Just because you send them to school does not mean that they're in a safe and secure environment that is conducive to learning. It's just the opposite with this man in that leadership role. He's proven time and time again, he does not care about your children. He does not care about you, because he thinks that, and he's shown this, you have not shown any interest in your child. In order for us to turn Dillard Middle School around, we have to put together a concerted effort to bring everybody together so that we will have a school that can be vibrant. I went to that same school in the high school. It was top. It was a powerhouse. And when I look at this man coming in there wanting to change the school colors, want red, going to diminish the tiger, everybody know Dillard Tigers. It's a rich tradition. But he had a plan in place. I'm going to take over this school and I'm going to run it the way I want to. And he had the blessing of the superintendent. From Lewis down to Privy, and now I don't know what this new superintendent is going to do. But we're going to apply pressure wherever we can, when we can, and we're definitely going to make sure we protect our children. This school year coming in, we got a lot to do. Because these children are going to have probably anxieties because of what they saw last year. And we expect them to go in there and get good grades. That's not going to happen. It's already a failing school because of him. We've had people that tell us about, oh, they're making growth, but they're not passing. Just because you got a 34 last year and you got a 33 or 35 next year, you still fail. They continue to cover up for this man. But what we're doing, we're shortchanging our children. We're going to cause them to be at an economic disadvantage to where they cannot sustain themselves when they become young men and young women. And that's going to create a whole lot of problem for them in the future. But we can stop this now. And I'm telling everybody right now that's viewing this video, come together, let's support these children, let's uplift them, let them know that we're going to be there for them. And from some of you people that feel like, well, okay, it's not worth it, think about this. These children might be your future doctors, nurses practitioner, or they might be at your bedside when your family members won't show up. We got to protect our future. And that's the future of these children. I appreciate you looking at this video, but I would appreciate even more if you come and support us. Thank you.
Yeah. And just one more thing, it definitely takes support of the community, because without you two guys, no one would know about these issues. Like I wouldn't even know about it.
Right.
So the more people who are involved, like Mr. Hinnant and Mrs. Clark, who are not afraid of ruffling feathers, as they say, the more the better. So if you see something, if you have information,
Say something.
If you have experiences, feel free to contact us and share those experiences. Because
Right.
the more we can prove a track record of this type of behavior with the school officials, even down to the superintendents. As I mentioned one time, sometimes the superintendents don't care if it doesn't affect them, their family, or their bottom line.
That's correct.
And so
Right.
that's what we're dealing with, people
Right.
saying, go to the superintendent, just like I used to go to a lot of city council meetings. For that 3 minutes, you
Right.
get up there and speak, and then you're just a voice in the crowd and everybody moves away.
That's correct.
And so, you know, that, while that's all well and good, it takes a majority. It can't
Right.
be just one person.
Right.
It has to be a centrifugal or magnitude force.
Right.
To bring change. So we are doing this to keep people informed, to keep people aware, and to let people know that you can get involved. You can go out to the school. You can question the authority. You can question the teachers.
Right.
Figure out what is going on. How is my students being treated? Like I
That's
said, we
the parent.
never address, and I forgot to ask them about these searches of
Right.
the children
Yeah.
that
Right.
occur in the school. I'm mad at myself for not addressing that, but there's no reason children should be searched in school randomly. That sounds like,
Right.
you know, search and seizure.
Right.
So, we thank y'all for watching. Share the video, and if you have any information, you can feel free to call me, 919-587-7782, and I'll relay any message or refer any information to Mr. Hinnant and Mrs. Clark. Anything left, Ms. Clark, that you have to say?
No.
I have one
I
other.
just, oh, go ahead.
Uh,
Go ahead. I know, I just so, go ahead.
I just want to say one thing. Put things in writing. Research the law. Rules, regulations, policies, and procedures. Follow it to the fullest extent of the law. And continue to follow it through. You may have to write 2 or 3 letters until it gets to the
Yes.
right person. Okay? But
That-
be persistent and consistent.
And I want to speak for Ms. Harris, just so that it's clear, under instructional assistant for Wayne County Public School, in her job description, it states, assist with crisis prevention and assist with de-escalation techniques with students as needed, which is what the principal denied her the right to do, to assist Trinity, to
Right,
keep this child
absolutely.
from being traumatized in this manner. So this wouldn't have happened. So he still didn't even allow a teacher to step in, or the person who was right there and said, I can get her out of the bathroom, let me
Right.
speak to her, and told her no.
And that is one thing that he admitted.
Yes.
He said, I probably would have been better if I'd have let
Yes.
Ms. Harris handle the situation. And that's what
Absolutely.
a lot of people need to understand is
That's right.
de-escalation
Yes.
techniques, compassion. You know, of course these kids are not angels, but it takes someone with the ability to de-escalate a situation, not escalate a situation,
Right.
in which we've had numerous people comment on Mr. Ray's propensity
Yeah.
to escalate situations, or make a bad situation worse, or even make a good situation bad by the way he treats, by the way he talks, his aggressive manner. So we thank you once again. We hope you know, we will be able to get some justice for the young girl, but also we hope we will get some people who are more understanding of the group of people or the group of children that they are dealing with, and what kind of attention and care and leadership that they need. We
Absolutely.
thank y'all for watching, and make sure you guys check us out
Okay.
next time.